Sofia record. Dengar tak suara aku?
Dah, aku tengah record. Dapat tak?
Dengar. Boleh Haziq.
Biasa tak ada record.
Sudah, record.
Adalah
Dah kan?
merah tu.
Okay.
Okay.
Nampak tak?
Nampak.
Okay. Nama saya ZHENG, saya dari grup 1. So sekarang saya I would like to present about the web server. Okay, the first one is what is web server? A web server is a computer system that can deliver web content to end users via the internet using a web browser. The primary function of a web server is to display website content by storing, processing, and delivering web page to users. Besides, web server also support HTTP to respond to client requests. Okay, this is the example of the web server. The first one is NGINX, the second one is Apache, and the third one is Light TPD. Okay, next one is the architecture of web server. The first one is the client task. It provides a way for users to submit queries and then run application that use the result of queries. And the last one is display result of queries. The next one is the server task. It implements that can directly access and update the database. Okay, this one is the client server architecture types. The first one is first tier architecture. This kind of architecture contains all sorts of settings on a single device. The setting involves configuration setting, data, and marketing logic. Okay, the next one is second tier architecture. This architectural facility has the best environment as it is on the system of the user, which is the client, and the related database are stored on the server device. The limitation of this framework include less security. Okay, the last one is third tier architecture. This is a middleware lies in between the client and the server machine in third tier architecture. If a user needs specific information from the server, the user will generate the request that will first be received by the dispatch to the server for further action. In the same pattern, the response will be reached at the user's end. This architecture has also a few benefits like better security of data. And the limitation of this approach is the complexity of communication due to the presence of the middleware system. Okay, next one is the evolution of the web server. In 1991, the first web server of the world, which is Stern, it is developed by Berners-Lee. And 1994, the most notable among new web server was SAHD. It ran a variety of Unix-based OS and could serve dynamically generated content by implementing the post HTTP method and the CGI to communicate with external programs. In 1995, the first version of IS was released for Windows NT OS by Microsoft. To 1999, Netscape Enterprise Server and Microsoft IS emerged among the leading commercial options, whereas among the freely available and open source program. Apache HTTP server held the lead as the preferred server. After 2000, many other open source programs, Lightspeed had excellent quality and very high performance, available with commercial support. Okay. Among the web server, and the Apache is the most popular web server because Apache web server is highly flexible and customizable, and the functionalities can be easily turned on and off. It can be regular update and security patches. It is open source and it offers users the most flexible environment to run a server. Okay, that's all from me. Hello. Hello.
Hello, betul. Group 2 mana?
Ya. Group 2, group 2.
Mana group
Sebentar.
2?
Berdua.
Zain hilang.
Sekejap ya. Boleh dengar tak suara?
Boleh.
Boleh,
Boleh.
sekejap Boleh nampak tak semua? Hello.
Boleh.
Boleh.
Boleh. Okay. Hello and Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti YASIRAH. So today I'm going to present about the web browser. Okay. Before this, I want to give some briefing information lah about the web browser. Okay, web browser is basically like application, from the client want to retrieve or want to get info from the client server like Google Chrome, IE, Microsoft Edge, Safari, and many more. Okay, so what is the web browser? Web browser is a software application for retrieving, presenting, and traversing information resource on the World Wide Web. An information resource is identified by a uniform resource identifier, URI, and maybe a web page, image, video, or other piece of content. Okay. So this is the example of the web browser, such as Google, Microsoft Edge, Opera, Mozilla Firefox, and also the Apple Safari. There is more, you can search it on the internet, more of web browser. Okay, so this is the architecture of web browser. Okay, the mouse keyboard is actually from the user. After controller, so the HTML, the XML, or PDF, this is the interface for the display. Okay, I'm going to talk after this, okay? Okay, the architecture of web browser. Okay, controller is okay, the controller. The controller here is from the mouse keyboard from the user. Okay, what is controller? Controller obtains the coordinate of the user cursor from windowing system and compares them with the coordinates of the object displayed in the page, such as the mouse. you know, the mouse cursor. Okay, we click something on the URL or something. The controller control the user control to search or to get info in the web browser. Okay, next is the client. What is client? If a link has been selected from the controller, from the client, okay, the controller extract the scheme from the URL. This determine which client, HTTP, HTTPS, or FTP, will be used to fetch the document. Okay. And next is display. Oh no, networking, sorry. Okay, networking is from the client server, which is get the information or get the cursor or URL from the controller. Okay. Networking, the networking component handles all aspects of internet communication and security. The network component may implement a cache of retrieved documents in order to reduce network traffic. Okay. Lastly is the display. What is display? The browser will fetch the document, and depending on the document type, HTML, XML, or PDF, calls the appropriate interpreter to render and display the document. Do you guys understand this? Okay. Next is the evaluation of version web browser. I'm not going to read this. I'm going to move to this. Okay. In 1990, we have World Wide Web. Okay. It renamed as Nexus or Nextstep to avoid confusion with the www system. It was the first graphical web browser and HTML editor. Okay, it was developed by Tim Berners-Lee, and roughly in that time, 4 million users using the World Wide Web. Okay, I want to show it. Nexus or Nextstep. Nexus and Nextstep ni, they have their own program or their own computer. Such as like UTEM, you have your own computer, you have your own web browser, and you have your own internet server. So it's actually not so good or not compatible for the others to use in this era. Okay. Next, in 1993, okay, we have Mosaic, recognized for making the internet more well-known to public to online. Okay. Many of the graphical user interface GUI features of Mosaic, like top-oriented action bars that offer basic browsing functionalities, are still used by contemporary browsers like IE and Firefox. Had a user based on 10 million users worldwide at this time. Okay, next is Netscape. In 1994, okay, the lead engineer of Mosaic is Mark Anderson, struck out of his own founding Netscape and launching Netscape Navigator, the first commercial web browser. Okay, the most used web browser of this time, but due to rise of alternative web browser, its usage has almost completely disappeared by 2008. Okay. Next is Internet Explorer. Okay. When they develop Internet Explorer, okay, it actually create industry war. Okay, because Microsoft released their own internet browser, it's web browser, which called Internet Explorer. Okay. And in 1996, we have Opera. The biggest Norwegian telecom provider, Telenor, makes Opera available to the general population. 2 years later, it begins adapting Opera to mobile device platform in an effort to dominate the market of internet-enabled mobile device. Never became a popular choice for desktop web browser. Okay, next in 1998, Mozilla Firefox. The Mozilla project aimed to create the communicator successor. it became evident that a project based on the existing source code was challenging. Attention turns to building from scratch. Before this name was Phoenix, but due to copyright, they changed to Mozilla Firefox. Okay, in 2002, IE was developed. Because it is integrated with the Windows operating system, Microsoft Internet Explorer sustains a 95% share. This time was IE like most popular web browser in this time. Okay, but then in 2003, Apple Safari. Okay, it introduced the reliable layout engine WebKit, which is used in many mobile devices such as Google and Nokia phones. But this Apple Safari only reserved for Apple product only. In 2004, Firefox. Okay, Firefox 1.0 hit the scene with a big early adopter following due to their beta release. The beginning of the second browser war is shown by Internet Explorer declining market share. By the end of the year, 7.4% of all browser users will be on the Firefox. Then in 2006, Microsoft released version 7 of Internet Explorer. Okay, incorporating several features from its open source rival, Firefox, such as tab browsing and anti-phishing security. Then in 2008, Google Chrome was released. Google launched its own web browser, entering into the web browser battles in the market share. Compared to early version of rival web browser, it is lightweight, quick, and stable. And nowadays, we also use Google Chrome as a web browser. I think IE we don't use anymore, but some IE have been changed to Microsoft Edge, and still some of software or system using IE as their web browser. Next is their most popular web browser in 2019 to 2020. And the comparison to other web browsers, why it become popular. Okay, the first one, Google Chrome is more popular nowadays. Why it become popular? More popular because it can open heavy page very quickly. And also it more secure, and it will carry security patches and bug fix. Okay, so this is the comparison of the web browser. The comparison from Chrome, Safari, and also the Firefox. And as you can see, Chrome has more efficient and more compatible to the user to use as a web browser. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Banisian from Group 3. Our group title is Two-Tier Architecture versus Three-Tier Architecture. Introduction. System architecture is the conceptual model that defines the structure, behavior, and more views of a system. It can consist of system components and the subsystems and developed that will work together in implement the overall system. The purpose of system architecture process are to generate system architecture alternatives, to select one or more alternatives that frame stakeholder concerns and meet system requirements. And last is to express this in a set of consistent views. For two-tier architecture, it consists of two layers, which is client tier and database tier. The client has to request data or resources to server, and server process the request and giving back response. Both of the two tiers communicate with each other through internet or any network. It is easy to maintain and modify. The examples are desktop application and desktop game. For three-tier, it consists of three layers, which are client tier, business logic or application tier, and database tier. Business logic or application layer is act as interface that communicate between client and data layer. The layer not only helps in communicate between client and data tier, also provide the security. The business logic or application layer that processes functional logic, constraint, and rule before passing data to the user from the DBMS. It separates the user application and the physical database. The program data independence and support multiple view of the data. The example of system is web-based application. The advantages of two-tier is the application can be easily developed due to simplicity. The communication is faster due to there's only two sides. The maximum user satisfaction is gained with accurate and fast prototyping of application. While for three-tier is the data security is guaranteed. The client is not direct access to the database. It is faster development. Each tier can be developed simultaneously. It can enhance reusage. A similar logic can be sustained in many clients or applications. The disadvantages for two-tier is lack of data and software security. The performance will be degraded when increasing of users, and it is cost ineffective. For a three-tier, it comparatively much complex to maintain as well as build. Increased effort and the points of communication are doubled. Last is the comparison of two-tier and three-tier architecture, where the two-tier is a client-server application which consists of two layers and it runs slower compared to the three-tier. The three-tier is a web-based application that contains three layers and runs faster. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, next is my turn. Let me share the screen. Can you hear my voice?
Ya, boleh.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm from group 4 and my topic is Git versus GitHub. Can you all see my screen?
Ya, boleh.
Yes.
So the first is Git. Git was created by Linus Torvald, who is the creator of Linux in 2005. And the main purpose of Git is to manage source code in software development or a file that changes over time. And Git helps in tracking codes by storing them in version on its own local repository called GitHub. And now let's see what is Git and what is GitHub. First, Git. Git is a code can be put into the cloud on GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket. The three local areas of Git are the working directory, staging area, and Git repository. The object types include blobs, trees, commits, tags. Blobs and trees represent files, and directories and tags are metadata. And the three main part of Git projects are Git directory. Git directory will store the object database where cloning takes place in the repository to another remote computer. Another one is working tree. Working tree files are pulled out from the database and placed on the disk for modifications. And the third one is staging area. Staging area acts as an index path that directs to the next commit. GitHub. GitHub is a collaboration platform built on top of a distributed version control system called Git. One does not have to worry about losing data on his hard drive or managing a project across multiple computers. One can sync from anywhere. You can track issues, build and test the things, and finally develop a project. And the reason why we use GitHub for project is for version controls. It allows experiments and mistakes without messing up in final products. Keep our code in one place and great collaboration platform. For more further GitHub guide, you guys can refer to the link below. And what is Git? What is Git and what is GitHub? Git is a software. It is installed and maintained in the local system, but GitHub is a service designed as Git repository hosting service. GitHub is solely a cloud-based service. And the second one for Git is Git can work without GitHub, as other web-based Git repositories are also available. And for GitHub, you can share your codes with others, give them the power to make revisions or edits. And the advantages of Git. Git is good distributed model, as each developer gets a local repository with a full history of commits, which makes Git fast compared to other VCs. It is free and open source, can easily download the source code and perform changes to it. Git can handle larger projects efficiently. And the disadvantages of Git is Git requires technical excellence and it is lower on Windows. They have tedious command lines to input and don't track renames, and Gits need multiple branches to support parallel development used by the developer. Advantages of GitHub is Markdown. Markdown allows you to use a simple text editor to write formatted documents. It supports Markdown for issue tracking, user comments, and many more. And the second one is Gits and GitHub pages. Gits let you convert one or several files into a working Git repository. This feature converted sharing and tracking changes made to configuration files and even simple scripts into a whole new level of ease. The disadvantages of Git is pricing and difficult to use for beginners. Pricing is having own internal servers are often better off using their own internal Git for cost reasons. And the difficult to use for beginners is GitHub is a very powerful tool, and so it is hard to get the hang of as a beginner. New users can find the many different options and ways of doing things in GitHub confusing and overwhelming. And how to install Git is we have prepared a PDF file and I will send it in the group so you guys can refer into it to install Git and configure Git. And also the link for this video I'll be attaching in the WhatsApp group. And same goes to how to install Git is you can view these slides by opening a browser, visit to the github.com, and then you can download for your Windows. For the configure GitHub, and I'll share the link also in the WhatsApp group. So thank you. That's all from me.
Hello, korang boleh dengar tak suara?
Boleh.
Boleh.
Okey, sekejap nak share. Mana nak share ni? Boleh nampak tak?
Boleh.
Nampak.
Okey. Okey, nama saya Cik Iman dari grup 5. Apa yang saya akan cover hari ini adalah ZHENG and VAM. Topiknya adalah apa itu VAM atau dan apa itu ZHENG dan VAM, advantage dia and disadvantage. how to install, how to configure, and how to use. What is a XAMPP server package? It's a free, easy to install Apache distribution containing MariaDB, PHP, and Perl. The XAMPP open source package has been set up to be incredibly easy to install and to use. What is a XAMPP server package? It is a Windows web development environment. It allows you to create web application with Apache 2, PHP, and MySQL database. Alongside PHP admin, allow you to easily manage your database. What advantage and disadvantage of XAMPP? Advantage of XAMPP. XAMPP is simple to install and configure. It is a multi-platform, so it runs on both Linux and Windows. PHP admin, Open SSQL, SSL, MediaWiki, and WordPress, Joomla, and other applications are included. It is comprehensive and standard. The entire web server and database that is started and stopped with a single command. Disadvantage of XAMPP is configuration and setting are more difficult. Manakala untuk XAMPP pula, advantage untuk XAMPP, the XAMPP server installation configuration are straightforward. It is cross-platform like XAMPP and is available for both Windows and Linux. XAMPP is simplify PHP coding and database creation on the Windows platform. It works on both 32 bits and 64-bit system. Similar to XAMPP, you can start and stop the web server and database with a single command. Manakala disadvantage of XAMPP pula, installing XAMPP is not easy to install when compared to XAMPP. XAMPP versus XAMPP. XAMPP stands for cross-platform, Apache, MySQL, PHP, and Perl. Manakala XAMPP is Windows, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. Platform for XAMPP is cross-platform Windows, macOS, and Linux. Manakala platform for XAMPP, Windows only. Database management system for XAMPP, MariaDB dan MySQL. Manakala untuk XAMPP, MariaDB dan MySQL juga. For programming or scripting language for XAMPP, Perl ialah Perl and PHP. Manakala untuk XAMPP, PHP sahaja. Resource untuk XAMPP more powerful and resource consuming. Manakala untuk XAMPP lightweight. SSL feature for XAMPP, yes, and manakala untuk XAMPP, no. Processing power untuk XAMPP ialah 64 bits. Manakala untuk XAMPP, 64 bits and 32 bits. How to install XAMPP? First, mungkin korang dah tahu kot. Kan? Nak install XAMPP. Inilah berapa step-step dia. Pertama, open the website, klik XAMPP for Windows, download semua ni. Saya rasa korang dah tahu kot. How to install XAMPP. Seterusnya adalah XAMPP configuration. Untuk XAMPP configuration, saya akan bagi PDF, korang boleh tengoklah. Apa itu control panel, saya yakin korang dah tahu kot. Control panel, starting model, setting up XAMPP, module administration, how to XAMPP server package configuration. Saya akan share PDF. Okay, seterusnya adalah how to use XAMPP and XAMPP. How to use XAMPP, saya juga akan share PDF step by step. Macam Medan ajar di lab minggu lepas. Nanti korang boleh refer satu persatu. And that's all from me. Thank you. Nanti Iman share tu jap nak share step-step dia dalam group. Okay, thank you.
Okay, boleh dengar suara aku dengan slide tu?
Boleh Yi.
Okay, macam tu aku
boleh.
tak je lah. Okay. Today I will present about the front-end development. Okay, first is what is a front-end developer? A front-end developer is someone who creates website and web applications. The front-end developer creates things that the user sees. The front-end developer has responsibility to ensure that website visitors can easily interact with the page. Next is what is front-end framework? Front-end framework is a platform or tools to build the front end of your website. Some of the tasks one can perform using a front-end framework are the management of AJAX requests, associating data with the document object model DOM elements, defining a file structure and styling of components on the website or application. The third is how front-end development works. When the design is available, front-end developers will convert that design into a front-end, the part of the website that the user interact with. During development, a developer will keep many things in mind, like browser compatibility, responsive behavior, performance, and accessibility. Okay, let us see about the advantages and disadvantages. First one is the advantages provide a solid foundation for responsive design. The second is great for prototyping and code is reliable and tested. For disadvantages, updating may introduce conflict with your code. And the developer coming onto the project will need to understand the framework in order to contribute. Okay, the last one is the most popular front-end frameworks. We got React, Vue.js, Angular, Steel, and jQuery. That's all from me. Thank you.
Welcome. Sekejap, saya share pula.
SOFIA.
Nampak tak? Hello.
Boleh,
Nampak.
boleh.
Boleh.
Ini tadi. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good evening. So today I'm going to present back-end developer. Okay, the table of content is contains meaning, framework, how it works, advantages, disadvantages, and the popular framework. So what is back-end developer? Allah, jap. Okay, what is back-end developer? Back-end developer works on the server side, build how the website works, manage the database, user security, and performance of the site, programming and scripting such as Python and Ruby. So for the example is, if we open Amazon.com, The backend will store your profile, your order history, and also your search history, search result. Okay, second question is what is a backend framework? Backend frameworks are server section framework created to make a task hassle-free for developers. These web application frameworks are focused more on scripting language such as Laravel, Django, Node.js, and much more. So how back-end developer works? Back-end development means working on server-side software which focus on everything you can see on a website. So back-end developer makes sure website works properly, focusing on database, back-end logic, application performance interface, which is API, architecture, and servers. So this is for the example. The situation is Umar want to watch YouTube. So Umar need to visit the YouTube, right? So the server will ask the client for the URL. The server search the database through a path, which is the domain, using a search query. The database will search through the query, then the database will send to the server and give it to the client. So now Umar can watch YouTube happily. Okay. Question 4. Advantages using back-end framework. The first one is run in different environments. Second, make information sharing faster. Third is requires logic, code logic. And the last one is impact the website user experience. The second last question is disadvantages using back-end framework. First one is no personalized automate operations. Second one is limited count operation, less control, security issues, and the last one is delay notification. So the last question is the most popular framework. As you can see, first is Django, Rails, Node.js, PHP, Phoenix frameworks, Express.js, Spring Boot, Symfony, and much more. That's all from me. Thank you.
Saya aku present
Yes.
Sekejap aku share screen Okay, aku akan present pasal full stack development. Okay, apakah full stack developer? Full stack developer is a design and create website and application for various platforms. Full stack developer job description might include the following: develop and maintain web services and interface, contribute to front end and back end development processes, bring new product features or API, perform tests, troubleshoot software and fix bugs, collaborate with other departments on project and sprint. Okay, what is full stack framework? Full stack framework is a collection of software that provided a complete end-to-end solution for web development. It means software framework that provides a basic structure for web application. Full stack framework can be used to develop any type of web application. What step full stack developer must do? For stack developer doing a collection of software that provides a complete end-to-end solution for web development. The terms full stack refer to the framework containing all the tools necessary to build a complete web application, from the front-end user interface to the back-end database. It also can be up to date with latest, so full stack developer must be up to date with latest technology and tools. Also writing clean code for front end and back end. Full stack developer also must help in choosing the right technologies for project development and test the system both in back end and back end. The last one is considering security, maintenance, scalability, and more when developing. Okay, what is advantages and disadvantages of full stack framework? The advantages one is to help improve efficiency of development process and provide higher level of flexibility. The disadvantages one is more time needed when you use full stack framework and it makes the process slow down. Okay, what is the most popular full stack framework? The first one example is Node.js. Node.js is a JavaScript runtime environment that enables to run JavaScript on server side. Express.js is a web application that runs on top of Node.js and provides robust features for building web application. The second one is Django. Django is the one of the best framework for full stack web development and that helps developers quickly create web application without worrying about low-level details such as managing databases or creating HTML templates. Django includes several features that are essential for modern web development training, including an ORM, that is Object Relational Mapper for interacting with databases, a template engine for creating HTML view, and a wide variety of tools and libraries for common tasks. The third one is Angular. Angular is the commonest one. Angular is an open source framework developed by Google and it helps developers build such single page web application. One of benefit of using Angular is it uses TypeScript. TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript that can help improve code quality. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Kantoi.
Aduh. Sorry dah. Sekejap. Kat mana ni? Tak jumpa. Aduh, kilang lah ni. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all from our group. Thank you. See you guys.
Sekejap.
Okay, guys.
Nanti evaluation tu kita nak kumpulkan ke?
Asalnya kumpulkan semua, lepas tu combine dah
Kau
satu
sekarang
lah.
kumpulkan, lepas tu kau gabungkan.
Apa tu?
Salah apa ni?
Ya, tu sih.
Kumpulkan, lepas tu hantarlah seorang. Sofia kan? Sofia kan hantar ni coding kan?
Okay, baik.
Thank you Sofia, kau baik doh.
Hai.
Wait. Lepas tu start recording macam biasa kan? Aduh, aku dah lupa.
Start recording je lah.